Hi, I'm Dr. Mike.
And I'm Julia.
And this is NFGeeks. All right, Julia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks,
I'm so
thanks
happy.
for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're on NFGeeks.
I'm excited too.
Yes, very excited. It's your first appearance.
That's right.
That's right. You know, you're a star now.
I am. I've always been a star, but now I'm...
Big star.
Yeah.
It's big time.
This is my break.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's begin. So normally I start the first video with somebody talking about the temperament and how they're, how the values of the temperament are in their lives. But we have to start somewhere else because you recently discovered that you are an ENFJ.
Yes. And
there was trauma, mayhem over it. So how did that go down for you? How do you feel about it?
So I've been into typology since I was like 13, 14. And that's when I first tested using the Please Understand Me book.
Oh, yeah.
My mother was really into
too.
it. I was really, so I tested, and sometimes when I look back, I'm like, how the hell did I even understand those questions at that age? But I tested as INFJ. And I've been testing for a long time as INFJ. Mm-hmm. I mean, not official tests, but so, but I mean, I just figured like over time, but then I just, as I've sort of like developed as a person, I guess, more and more people have just been like, you're not an introvert, you're just not. This is true. I think finally I've come, now that I understand my new place in the world as an ENFJ, I must admit, I've always been a talker.
Ah, so it's been, so you've accepted the change,
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Do you find anything in the profile of ENFJ that really resonated with you, that you connected with?
Besides being a talker?
Or, even
being
that.
Charming.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, can you expand on that? What did you connect with that?
So, I sort of so I'm in fundraising right now, and one of the reasons why, and a lot of people have been like, you should go into sales, and I'm like, no, I'm not working for the man. But this is like sales, but I'm selling for the cure for disease,
right?
Basically.
Very idealistic.
Yes. And one of the things that makes me good at my profession is that I can charm people.
Oh.
And I can get, I can get into their heads almost a little bit in that NF way. It's like I'm sending a little probe in, going, what do you want to hear? and then giving it to them fully,
Wow.
facial expressions and all. It's like tractor beam. I'm really good at that.
Oh, wow. So that's very ENFJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense then that you were an ENFJ.
Yeah.
Now, what about, is there anything let's do the reverse, is there anything in INFJ that you never responded to or you realize is not yourself in the profile?
See, that's tough. I think I got stuck in an INFJ tar pit.
Okay.
Where I got so entrenched in the idea of INFJ that I almost wasn't seeing the things that weren't like me. So I was just seeing the things that were like. I've always really, really identified with like the secret garden of the INFJ, the inner world, because I have that.
Oh, sure, right, as an NF.
I mean, I'm sure
share that.
Probably all NFs have that deep inner world. But the whole idea of INFJs holding on to one cause,
that wasn't really there for you.
No, I didn't realize how hardcore a true INFJ would hold on to that one cause. I'm not like that. I mean, it's like. With me, it's like, don't push the feminist button because then I'll go off on that. But it's like, for the sake of harmony in the social situation, yeah, I'll put it aside.
Yeah, I understand that experience of being stuck, or not totally stuck, but the experience of being maybe focused, because in the Enneagram, there's nothing more NF than 4, than number 4 in the Enneagram, and I liked all that.
Enneagram very much. I don't
Well,
get it.
we have to educate you then.
Okay.
But they'll know. I've been, I liked everything 4 because it's very NF, but when I looked at the description of 4, I had to really acknowledge that, okay, I like that, but I am not that. You know what I mean? Like, I really like that, and I kind of wish I was like that. I wish it was so deep and poetic.
Yeah.
But I'm not. It's something I like, but it's not something I am.
I'm incredibly deep and poetic.
Well, all INFs are deep and poetic, but, the 4 is very INFP, INFJ, deep, melancholy, poetic.
They're so beautiful.
Yes. So it's one thing to like them, it's another thing to be them. It's two. So I understand that. Yeah. So you've accepted it then. You went through the stages. There's still going to be some internal working on that, because we're talking about 20 years of, I'm 34, so 20 years of believing I was an INFJ. When you look back on your childhood or even your teenage years, does ENFJ still seem right?
It does and it doesn't. You know what I'm going to say?
Sure.
I'm going to say that because I grew up in an introverted household, and also a lot of the other, I have the easiest childhood, a lot of the other things, I think more external factors made me more introverted, more maybe to do with my F than to do, with being hurt, than to do with my actual real tendency to be introverted or extroverted.
Sure.
So now as I've developed, and I've had a therapist for since I was 16, same therapist, INFP extraordinaire, fabulous, goes very well with me and my ENFJ-ness. And
been saying that, till I pass out.
True.
But, yeah.
And I also attract INFPs to me like crazy. And I know there's not tons of them out there, but they find me. They find me, and I find them, and that's always been true.
Oh, see, that's wonderful. And this happened then.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So as I've sort of become more myself as I've grown up, I think it's become more and more obvious that I'm an extrovert, and that's my natural tendency. And I've always been a talker. I mean, it was when I was a kid, I started talking, first words, then 16 months, full sentences, and I just never shut up after that.
Oh.
Everyone was like, I was always like, Julia, stop talking, do you ever stop talking? And I never have.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Still talk a lot.
All right, so ENFJ seems right then.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Okay, so let's talk about some NF values, and you can comment on them.
Okay.
Let's talk about the most important one for NFs that we all share, and that is the one of sort of transcendence and transformation. Sort of being, turning one thing and becoming something else into something better, more complex, more healthy, whatever. How does that value connect with you?
It's my damn reason for living, Mike.
There you go. All right, let's hear it then. What do you mean?
So, as I mentioned, I've been in therapy for a long time, and I love therapy. I love therapy like it's my job.
Wow.
I love therapy more than any other job I've ever had. And transcendence and change, and I've changed a lot. I really went balls to the wall. I really like my therapist used to say, you don't have to be loaded for bear. You can calm down. You can go slow. And I'm like, no, I can't. I want to go for it. And it was painful. And it was and it's I don't know if anybody's. I'm talking to NFs. I'm sure at least some of you are familiar with The Never-Ending Story.
Oh, for God's sake!
I was obsessed.
That was on the forum just like a day or two ago talking about it.
I love the book.
In fact, that's funny. I said
movie.
something there I'm going to say. Go ahead.
When I was a kid, I used to watch that movie over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that movie. And the scene where he, so Atreyu has to go through the second gate, and he has to face himself.
In the mirror.
Yeah. So that's what it was like. So, and I just I wouldn't turn away. I was looking at my mirror, and I was just like, it was painful, but I made it through, and it is unbelievable on the other side.
Oh, that's wonderful.
To truly feel like the tectonic plates inside you actually change is beautiful.
It's funny you should say that, because I posted this on the forum. I commented on this, but I'll say it now because it's kind of comical. Is that, now I watched it as a teenager, okay, but still, NF, I watched the whole thing, sat through the whole thing easily, didn't kept my attention, at 16, whatever how old I was, but. The scene that upsets me the most, but not for the same reason it upsets everyone else, because everyone's upset at this scene, is the scene that Artax dies. The horse, right?
Anything in the Swamps of Sadness.
Yeah,
the Swamps of Sadness.
That's so NF.
Let's just go right to the fact that the Swamps of Sadness is all about depression.
Yes, it sure is.
NF depression.
All right,
too.
and this is all right. So my response is fascinating. Now I always felt for Atreyu. He's crying, he's upset. Yeah, absolutely.
God.
But I was always pissed off at the horse.
he
Genuinely
won't
angry. He won't move, and I'd be like, "You stupid fucking horse!
But
Fuck
that's
you!
The nature.
I don't care. Fuck you! Atreyu can do it. He's telling you to do it. Get the fuck out of the swamp, you stupid horse! I'm glad you're dead because you're a jackass."
Even though it's an NF movie, I'm pretty sure Atreyu was an SP.
No, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Bastian was an NF.
Oh yeah, he was like an INFP.
But Bastian's hero, like any NF hero, is an SP.
You think he's an SP?
Yes, I do.
I don't know.
Maybe it's up for debate.
All right, but it doesn't matter. The horse is a dumbass.
But that's depression,
and
Mike.
I don't care.
That's the
Stupid
reality
fucking
of
horse.
depression.
Fuck you, Artax.
I think.
Fuck you. Okay, seriously.
Mike just fucked Artax.
That's right. Fuck you, Art. You stupid horse. At least the dog knew better. That's some wisdom. INFJ dog, flying dog.
The great thing about this movie and the book, read the book because the book is amazing.
Oh, of course, spoken like a true NF.
Book, no, for real. That movie only is this much of the book is gorgeous.
Yes, I know. That's the whole.
The book is
right.
gorgeous.
All right.
It's just rich with metaphor.
Yeah.
Metaphor about life. For example, in the book, when so that is a really good. It's a metaphor for depression and how
and transformation.
When people get really entrenched in depression, they sometimes they won't move and then they end up dying. But also here's another really cool one that's not in the movie, it's in the book. So when Bastian actually goes into the world of Fantasia and he gets lost and he loses his memories slowly as he gets a bunch of wishes and with every wish he loses a memory, and at the end, in order to get back, he's finally forgotten his name. And it's I can't even go into it. Read the book.
Okay, sure.
Really read the book.
Sure.
But he has to go with this old man who mines for memories, and he has to go down to this mine. And
which is always the unconscious.
And
archetypally.
and the memories are fragile, and he has to mine forever for indefinitely until he finds something that resonates with him. And he can remember who he is, so he can get back to his world. Otherwise, he's stuck in Fantasia forever. So, how metaphor rich and beautiful is that?
And transformative.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. Great analysis of the never-ending story. Yeah, very good.
There's anything I can analyze with that.
All right, that's good. Yeah, hey, I never met an NF that was like, that fucked up movie.
Yeah, that would be
I know, really. I've heard the other type say that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, but I've never heard an NF. Every NF I ever heard went, oh, yeah, the never-ending story.
Yeah.
And even I didn't have that childhood memory, but I was like, I remember seeing it first time. I sat right through it. I couldn't move.
When I first saw that movie, it's like the old HBO thing where it's like, da-na-na,
oh, yeah, I think I saw it.
And I was like 5 years old, and I thought that that's what that meant. That when that came on, the never-ending story was coming on. And I remember the first time I saw that and it didn't come on, I was like, hey.
Oh.
I literally watched
What a disappointment.
I've probably seen that movie 500 times.
Oh, wow.
We're talking true.
Yeah. True NF.
I'm a disciple.
At least you can say she's an NF.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other values.
Okay.
All right, so the next one I'd like you to talk about is altruism. And because that's something that NFs are supposed to hold, that ability to sacrifice and give 100% to the other. How does that value connect with you?
Very, very deeply.
Okay.
I think of it in terms of my heart and giving support to people. I'm always the person, if somebody's, this actually happened recently with one of my friends. If somebody is in a serious crisis, they come to me. They know somehow I get this across to people that they know that they can come to me. I also used to be a social worker, and I altruismed myself almost to death. I really did. So I started with teens, and then basically because I majored in theater, didn't know what the hell to do after I got out of school. Messed around in retail for a while. Then I was just finally like, I gotta do something, and and I just became drawn to social work. Went to grad school, somehow got in, magic, but then I did it too much. I took it way too far. So I started, with the elderly, but then I ended up with homeless people and walking into like the Pine Street Inn, and my whole idea was like, I need to take this to the max. I need to go to the rawest population, the edge of, the very edge where, the people need me most. Otherwise, I'm not helping anything. I'm not helping unless I'm on the edge of the most desperate of the desperate.
Right.
I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to climb the ladder. I'm going to go to the edge. That's my way of climbing. Ooh, bad idea.
Oh, well, no, not for an NF. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, be strong. Yeah.
We were talking about this before. I find that the best social workers are actually, you might be surprised, but SJs.
I was surrounded by them.
Right, but that's because they have the fortitude to do the awful things you have to do.
They have a kind of
a sense of duty.
Yeah, I was surrounded by ISTJs.
I know, but it makes sense. But they don't make good therapists. Social work isn't therapy. Social work is managing.
But they could give the bad news.
Yeah, without
get on with their day.
Right, absolutely, and do
the
awful things,
dancing around. Yeah. So yeah, and I just burned out. I burned out entirely, which I know is an ENFJ thing, giving way too much. And I gave way too much. Really just burned myself beyond burnout. I mean, here's burnout, and
that's too bad.
Took it way too
far.
What
about all right, so let's think of because we've only got a few minutes left. How do you feel about authenticity? Authenticity is an important value for NFs.
So this is my beef with the ENFJ.
Okay. It's very hard, right? This is the tough part. Okay.
This is, I think, why I have railed against the idea of being an ENFJ in a way internally.
Okay.
Is because I feel like being an INFJ is so much more pure and authentic.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to even say, and I guess, because I'm an ENFJ, I can say this.
You are now, right?
I always was, right?
Oh, true enough.
Is that the ENFJs can put on a show like no other NF. I think we have the ability. I mean, I know I'm a charmer. I'm a charmer, and I'm in fundraising, which is the NF version of sales, because I could never work for the man.
No, never work for the man.
No working for the man. No, I got so I'm raising money for a disease, so I'm not on the front lines anymore. But I can go and I can see what somebody's gonna want to hear, and it's almost like sending out, and I can see okay, this is what and I use typology and everything, and I type the person, and this all happens in a split second.
Sure, absolutely.
And I know what's going to charm them, and I can do it really easily, and I feel that that's not authentic.
It is very empathic in a way, though, because
extremely empathic.
Yeah, so it does make sense in that way.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you feel that the charm takes away from the authenticity.
It's a little it's a little what's the word? Where you're messing with people, like it's
Manipulative?
That's the one.
Oh.
It's a little manipulative.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't, I do it like I do charisma soft in my private life because I want to be authentic, but in my career, I use everything I've got. I use my whole arsenal.
Right.
Because I'm trying to raise money for arthritis here, people, and so, I mean, I'm gonna. I guess that's how I justify it. Is that I'm gonna use all my charm, and that's sort of my way of being a salesman. But then thinking about being a salesman, I'm like,
it's the
NF
values.
I can feel all the INFPs and ENFPs judging me right now.
No, we don't judge. We're perceivers. We don't judge. All right. Well, Julie, thank you very much. That was great. Our great first episode. And now we'll go on to our other episodes.
Yay!
Yay.